a lot of the topics that we're going to be doing in the class are actually like year 8 topics. Okay, so they will be year 8 level topics. We usually work a year ahead. All right. Having said that, I'm sure a lot of you have probably already done this. So can I get an idea? Who has at some point in the life at school or with their parents or somewhere else learned solving equations? All right, some of you have. Cool. A lot of you have. Some of you haven't. Some of you have. So the solving equations topic, there are lots and lots of different types of equations. So I would like everyone to add something to their booklet actually. Yes, we're solving equations, but we're solving a very specific type of equation. We are solving linear equations. That's what we're actually doing. We're solving linear equations. You can write that on your booklet itself if you want. So I know the booklet says solving equations, but we're solving linear equations. There are so many other types of equations. There's cubic equations, there's quadratic equations, there's polynomial equations, there's simultaneous equations. There's a whole bunch of different type of equations. We're doing like the most easy type, which is solving linear equations. All right, fine. Now, the first thing that I want everyone to understand is not every equation has one answer. Some equations, and that's, maybe you can write notes on your booklet actually. So it says here the solution of an equation. I want everyone to know that if you have an equation, there can be either one solution, meaning one answer. There can be two solutions, or, I mean, there can be three solutions, there can be four solutions. There can be zero solutions, often called no solutions. There can be infinity solutions. Does everyone know that's a symbol for infinity? Like a sideways 8. Infinity means there's like unlimited solutions. Alrighty. So I wouldn't be surprised if parents know. I wouldn't be surprised if the what am I saying, parents? I wouldn't be surprised if students know that there are a lot of equations with one solutions. But what type of equations? What type of equations could possibly have two solutions? What type of equation could have zero solutions? What type of equations could have infinite solutions? I'm going to discuss a scenario of each of them. Now I'll do a really, really obvious one with one solution. So let's say I've got an equation that says x plus 2 is 3. Let's say something as simple as that. All right. So if that's the case, what's x obviously? 1. Everyone, if x plus 2 is 3, x is 1. That's the easy equation. Now the point of that is there's one solution only. There's only one answer. The only value of x that works is 1. All right, I'm going to give you a scenario of two solutions. Let's try this one. X squared, I'm sure a lot of you know that means x squared. X squared equals x. Can you guys think of any number that when you square it, you get the same thing? Yes? 1 and 0. I'm pretty happy with that. Think about it. 0 and 1. When you do 0 squared, what do we get? 0. And when you get 1 squared, you get 1. So there you go. Two scenarios where 0 squared is 0 and 1 squared is 1. All right. Perfect. I'll give you scenarios where there are 0 solutions. I'm going to give you an equation where there is no answer. Here's a scenario where there is no answer. X plus 1 equals x plus 2. Can anyone think of any value for x that matches this? No, it just doesn't make sense. How can a number plus 1 be the same as a number plus 2? Some silly kids might try and say, oh, what about 0? Obviously, they're very silly. Is 0 plus 1 the same as 0 plus 2? No, there is no answers to x plus 1 is x plus 2. There is no number that would suit both equations. So there you go. That's a scenario where there are 0 solutions. All right. And let's give you a scenario where there are infinite solutions. Let's think of a scenario where there are infinite solutions. Something like this would have infinite solutions. How about x plus 2 I'll do, yeah, 2x plus 4 is 2 bracket x plus 2. This thing here, guys, has infinite solutions. I'll prove it to you. Let's try a number. Let's try x equals 1. If I try x equals 1, what is this equal to, guys? If I let x equal 1, what's 2 times 1 plus 4? 6. Good. 2 times 1 plus 4 is 6. Let's put it into here. What's 1 plus 2? 3. And 3 times 2? 6. Oh, so x equals 1 worked. Let's try x equals 10. Let's try x equals 10. What's 2 times 10 plus 4? 24. 2 times 10 plus 4 is 24. I'm trying the number 10. Let's put 10 into here. And everyone's done BIMDAS, which means you do brackets first. What's 10 plus 2? 12. And 12 times 2? 24. Ah, another scenario where it works. So there you go. Something like this has infinite solutions. So the first learning point of today, which you might not have learned before actually, is that when you have equations, you don't necessarily have one solution. You can have 2 solutions, you can have 0 solutions, you can have infinite solutions. When you do cubics, you can have 3 solutions, you can have 4 solutions, etc. Alrighty, but we're doing pretty easy stuff today. So today will all be linear equations, which means they'll either be one solution. Very, very rarely we might have one of these, but most of the questions we deal with today are going to be one solution. But don't be shocked if there are no solutions, and don't be shocked if there are infinite solutions, okay? A lot of time when there's infinite solutions means any number. And a lot of times when there's infinite solutions, silly kids then just write, oh, x equals 0. That's not true. Okay. Any questions so far? All righty. Now, I've got a very fixed rule. All right. For homework, I've got a very fixed rule in my math class. In my math class, the fixed rule for homework is that unless I say otherwise, the middle column is homework. All right. Even columns are homework unless I say otherwise. All right. So today, technically, this should have also been homework. This should have also been homework, but I'm going to do it. We'll make it homework. All right. Even columns, homework, etc., etc. Always with me, middle column, homework, unless I say even columns are homework. 2nd and 4th and 6th columns are homework. That's my rule, unless I say otherwise. All righty. So here goes. Okay. The most silly way of solving equations is called trial and error. I'm sure everyone agrees it sounds silly. All right. But there is a way of solving equations by trial and error, and I don't like it. All right. There's a whole bunch of reasons why trial and error is not a good way of doing it. One reason why trial and error is not a good way is it could take forever. Yeah. What if the answer is like 50? It's going to take forever for you to trial and error all the way up to 50. Another reason why I don't like trial and error is what if the number's not nice? What if the answer is x is 2.73? We're not going to trial and error 2.73. All righty. So there's another reason why trial and error is a bit of a bad idea. All right. Trial and error is the worst way of doing it. So we're going to do 2 questions today using trial and error, and then we're not going to do any more questions today with trial and error. All right. So guys, we have to solve these using trial and error. And luckily they're telling us that the answer is one of those 3 numbers. I'm glad they're telling me that, because if they didn't tell me that, it would take even for like more longer. All right. So let's go. Let's try 3. So guys, what's 2 times 3? 6. 6 take 9. -3. 6 take 9. Okay. So 3 is not the answer. So I can like get rid of 3. This is such a silly way of doing it. All right. 2 times 5. 10. 10 take 9. 1. Okay, 5 is not the answer. All right, it must be 7. Let's check. 2 times 7. 14 take away 9. Yeah, okay, fine. 7 is the answer. The answer is x equals 7. What a silly way of doing the question. What a silly way of doing the question. All right, let's try the next one, guys, using trial and error. You have to be good with your negative numbers, okay, guys? You need to be good with your negative numbers. Now, one of the things I'm going to tell you is some people, if some people are not good with the negative numbers. If you're not good with the negative numbers, you'll go to the drive that I will give you access to. On the drive, there'll be something called, on the drive, I'll put it on there. It's not there. There'll be something called chapters. Alrighty. In the chapters, there'll be something called negative numbers. Okay, so you're going to be practicing negative numbers if you're not good at negative numbers. No. Alrighty. So, okay, so -4. What's -4 plus 6? 2. -4 plus 6 is 2. What's 2 divided by 2? 1. Oh, great. We got the answer straight away. That's only because they told us which numbers to try. If they didn't tell us which numbers to try, it would have taken forever. So the answer is x equals -4. All right, are we all happy with that? That's called trial and error, and it's not a way that I like you to do. All righty. You will try the other two at homework. Okay, so question number 2 is not asking you to solve the equation. Question number 2 is asking you, or is telling you, I'm going to do them all with you. Okay, I'll do them all with you. All right, question number 2 is telling you, or asking you, that for these equations, is there one answer? Is there two answers? Is all values of x? Guys, all values of x means what type of solution? What word did I use before? Infinite. All values of x means infinite solutions. Never true. Never true means no solutions. This one means infinite solutions. This means no solutions. And this last one means true for all values except 0. All right, fine. It is not asking us to solve the equation. This question is asking us how many answers there are. All right, x plus 3 is 5. How many answers are there? 1. I'm glad nobody said 2. 2 is not how many answers there are. 2 is the answer. This question is not asking us what the answer is. That's the next chapter. This question is asking us how many answers are there. And you are right. There is one answer, so the answer is A. And P.S. What was the answer? X is 2. Not that they want us to do that, but I'm just letting you know the answer is X is 2. Let's do the next one. X squared is 0. Can anyone think of how many numbers squared give you 0? 2. All right. Which one's the second number? I know 0 squared gives you 0. Is 1 squared 0 now? No, 1 squared is not 0. That's silly. All right. So let's try again. How many answers squared give you 0? Just the 1. And the only answer is x equals 0. Whoever thinks 1 squared is 0, we're not in the right year level, obviously. Okay. So yeah, so the answer is x equals 0, which means the answer is A, one solution. All right, I'm just writing down what the answer is. Not that they want us to do it. They don't want us to write down what the answer is. All right. 1 divided by what gives you 0? No, 1 divided by 0. Okay, maybe this is some notes that I want everyone to write down. This is some notes that I want everyone to write down. The notes is this. 0 divided by anything is 0. Writing this down as notes. 0 divided by anything is 0. That makes sense, guys. If I have 0 lollies and I'm going to divide it between all of you, how many lollies are you going to all get? 0, because 0 divided by anything is 0. All right. But if you do anything, divide 0. If you do anything, divide by 0, it is called undefined. Some schools might call it infinity, but it's not. It's actually called undefined. You are not allowed to divide by 0. You are not allowed to divide by 0. It doesn't work. I'll explain to you why. If I have 10 lollies, and I'm going to divide it between 0 people, how many lollies does everybody get? No, but what do you mean 0? I've got 10 lollies. So how can everybody get 0 lollies? But then you can't, it's not possible because it's just not, it breaks. In fact, if you have your calculator with you, just on your calculator, guys, do 5 divide 0 on your calculators. All right, I'll do it on my calculator that I have over here. All right, I'll first do it on the iPad calculator. Let's see what it says. 5 divide 0. 5 divided 0 equals, oh, there you go. The iPad knows, undefined. Okay, there is no such thing as divide by 0. It's called undefined. Cool. There is no such thing as divide by 0. It is simply called undefined. All right. If I go on my ClassPad calculator, I've got two calculators. I've got the ClassPad on here as well. ClassPad's what you use in year 10, 11, and 12. So let me do 5 divided by 0 here. Undefined. And on your scientific calculator, 5 divided by 0 will be infinity. It will say error. It wouldn't even say infinity. If anyone tries to do it on the calculator, they'll get math error or error 1 or something like that. So now, has everyone written that on their notes? That dividing by 0 is undefined. You are not allowed to divide by 0. It is illegal. All right. So guys, is 1 divided by anything 0? No. So there is how many answers to this? No, that's the opposite of infinity. How many answers are there to 1 divided by something is 0? There are no answers. All right. Infinity is like the exact opposite of the answer. All right. There are no answers to 1 divided by something is 0. So I want everyone writing D. It is never true. Just think about it. If you have 1 lolly, how many people do you have to divide it by so that everybody gets 0 lollies? It's not possible. All right. Even if I divide it by a gazillion, that's not a number. Even if I divide it by a billion people, everyone still gets a teeny bit of lolly. All righty. So anyway, next one. 2x is 11. 2x equals 11. How many answers are there to that? 1. Yeah, isn't 2 times 5.5 11? Yeah, there is one answer. The answer to this is 5.5, but that's not actually the answer. The answer is A. There is one solution. I don't need the answer. I just want to know how many solutions there are. Next one. X squared is 9. How many answers are there to that? No, there are 2 answers. You messed up your negative numbers. So think about it, guys. Is 3 squared 9? What about negative 3 squared? What is negative 3 times negative 3? 9, right? When you times 2 negative numbers together, you should know that it's a positive number. By now, you should know that a negative times by negative is a positive number. So negative 3 squared is also 9. So what have I just proven to you? That there are 2 answers to x squared is 9. So what's the answer to this one? Actually, the answer is not 3, and the answer is not 3 or minus 3. What's the answer? B. True for 2 values of x. All right, I hope you guys are understanding this. Not everything has one answer. All righty. X take x is 0. What's x? Is that the only number? There's infinite answers. What if x is 5? Is that equation true if x is 5? Yes. What if x is 10? Yeah. What if x is 3.2789? Yeah, it's still true. 3.2789 minus 3.2789 is also 0. So it is true for all values. So true for all values of x. So the answer is E. Yeah. All right. So the answer is E. Next one. X take 1 is x. Can anyone think of any answers for this one? When is x take 1 equal to x? When is x take 1 equal to x? Jay? Yes? When is x take 1 equal to x? Yes? Never. How can something minus 1 be the same as x? How can I take one thing away from you and tell you that you have the same number? Is that possible? No, that is not possible. X take 1 equals x has no answers. So no solutions. So the answer is D. It is never true. All right. It is never, ever true. X take 1 can never be x because that's so silly. All right. How many answers do you think there are to something like this? 2 plus 5x is 12. How many answers do you think there are? There is one answer. All right. And this is just a little bit of a precursor for what we're about to do soon. But for those that have done solving equations first, you bring the 2 to the other side. So 5x is 10. And if 5x is 10, x is 2. I'm going to teach you that if you don't know how to do that yet. But there is one answer. The answer is x equals 2. So the answer is A, true for exactly one value of x. All right. What about this one, guys? X take x squared is 0. How many answers to that are there? There are two answers. What are the two answers? Yes? 0 and 1 is correct, guys. Think about it. What's 0 take 0 squared? 0. What is 1 take 1 squared? 0. 1 take 1 squared is 0. Think about it. 1 minus 1 squared is 1 minus 1. And I don't know about you, but as a year 7 student, you should know how to do 1 minus 1. Alrighty. So the answer is 0. Alright. So how many answers are there? So what's actually the answer? B. True for two values of x. Alright. Next one. 3x times 2x is 6x squared. What's x? X can be anything. X can be anything. All right, because literally, guys, 3x times 2x is 6x squared. X could be anything. I'll prove it to you. Let's try a random number. Let's try x equals 3. All right, yeah, you could try 500, but then it's going to be hard to do 500 squared and then times by 6. So let's just, all right, I know 500 is your favorite number. That's the number of girlfriends you have, but we'll just stick with 3. All righty, so what is, let's try 3. 3, if x is 3, what's 3x? 9. So then we'll do 9. And what's 2x, knowing that x is 3? Remember, we're trying x equals 3. 6. And now we're trying x equals 3 here. So you have to do indices first, according to BIMDAS. So what's 3 squared? 9. And 9 times 6? All right. Oh, did the equation work out? It did. And I tried a random number like 3. Let's try a random number like 10. What's 3 times 10? 30. And then what's 2 times 10? 20. And then what's 10 squared? 100. And 100 times 6? 600. So, and is 30 times 20, 600? So there you go. I tried 2 random numbers and it worked, proving to you, or suggesting to you that there are how many solutions? Infinite solutions. So the answer is C. The next one's a tricky one. 1 divided by x times by x is 1. What can x be? Anything except 0. You are correct. Why is that, guys? So first of all, some people will say that if you do 1 divided by something times by something, obviously you're going to get 1. Does everyone agree if I do 1 divided by 5 times by 5, it's 1? And what's 1 divided by 6 times by 6? 1. And what's 1 divided by 10 times by 10? 1. So some people might think, oh, x can be anything. But guys, x can't be 0. Did I tell you it's illegal to divide by 0? 1 divided by 0 is illegal. So a lot of people might have thought, oh, there's infinite solutions. Almost. There's infinite solutions except for 0. So what's the answer actually? E. Good. All right. And the last one, I think we can do this. All right. It's a little bit hard. I'm going to bring the 2 to the other side. If I bring the 2 to the other side, it becomes minus 2. Minus 1 on x equals 3 minus 2, meaning minus 1 on x equals 1. And then I'm going to times both sides by negative 1. I haven't taught you this yet, so if you don't understand what I'm doing, it's okay. What's 1 divided by what's negative 1? 1 divided by what gives you negative 1? Negative 1. All right. I haven't taught you this yet, so don't stress too much. So how many answers were there? How many answers were there? 1. All right. There were 1 answers that worked out. So there you go. That is your answer. Your answer is actually A, true for 1 value. Hooray. Cool. All right. Are we all happy with that? All right. So we've done that. Now we're actually going to solve equations. All right. Some of you might find this easy because you've done it before. And some of you might find it difficult because it's a year 8 topic. Either way, we need to know it. All right. So, all right. I'm sure everybody in the class knows that obviously are these two in balance? All right. So then if you add something to this side, what do you have to do to maintain the balance? Add the same thing to the other side. So if I'm going to add 3 squares on this side to maintain the balance, I have to add 3 squares to the other side. Makes sense? Whatever you do to one side of the equation, you have to do the exact same thing to the other side of the equation. Everybody knows that? All right. Cool. Now, I'm curious about this, guys. I'm a little bit curious. I'm a little bit curious about how you guys have learned this before. So you don't need to write this down. I'm just wanting your answers and your opinions on this. So let's say I told you guys x take 4 is 5. And I know everyone might be able to do that in their head. I'm curious, how many kids have been taught to do it this way? Where when you bring -4 to the other side, it becomes a +4. So then you write 5 plus 4. Who's been taught to do it like that? All righty, fine. Some of you have been taught to do it like that, meaning x equals 9. All righty. That's not wrong, but it's not actually what you're doing. What you're actually doing, guys, and I'm not, maybe you haven't learned it properly. If someone says x take 4 is 5, what you're actually doing is you're not bringing this to the other side. That's not what you're actually doing. What you're actually doing is you're adding 4 to both sides of the equation. That's what you're actually doing. So whoever thinks that you just bring it to the other side, yeah, that's one way of teaching it, but that's not actually what you're doing. That's not what the rules are. The rules are what you do to one side, you do the same thing to the other side. And obviously, guys, what does take 4 plus 4 become? 0. So then are we just left with the x? And then obviously what's 5 plus 4? 9. So you're not actually bringing it to the other side. Make sense? You're actually just adding 4 to both sides of the equation. All righty. Cool. That's what we're doing. Everyone understood that? All righty. So same thing here. Same thing here. If I told you guys x divided by 2 is 10, and I'm sure everyone knows the answer is 20. Some students are going to do it this way. Some students, their parents or their tutor or their teacher have told you that when you bring a divide by 2 to the other side, you do times by 2. Is that what some of you guys have learned? That when you bring the divide 2 to the other side, it's times 2? So then x is 20. But that's not actually what you are doing. What is it that you're actually doing, guys? What you're timesing both sides by 2. If someone says x divided by 2 is 10, you're timesing this side by 2 and you're timesing this side by 2. That's actually what you are doing. And then divide by 2 times by 2 just disappears. So we're left with the x. And 10 times 2 is 20. Everyone now knows the actual thing that you're doing. Look, I've got no problem with you telling me bring -4 to the other side becomes +4. All right. When it's year 8, 9, and 10, that's how I do it with you. All right. But for now, I want everyone to know that we're not just bringing it to the other side. It's just whatever we do to one side, we're doing the exact same thing to the other side. All righty. So let's do some questions. And again, if anyone has got Alzheimer's or short-term memory loss, what's always homework unless I say otherwise? Yes, even columns. Even columns are always homework unless I say otherwise. All right, unless you have Alzheimer's. Middle columns are homework. All right, so let's go for it. All right. What equation results from adding 6 to both sides of this? They're not asking you to solve it, guys. Read the question. They are not asking us to solve the equation. They're not asking us to solve it. They're just asking you what happens if you add 6 to both sides. So if x takes 6 equals 4, I'm going to add 6 to both, add 6 to both sides. I'm going to add 6 to the left, and I'm going to add 6 to the right. What does that become effectively, guys, if I do that? X equals 10. All right, that's what happens if you add 4 to both sides. All right, what about C? I have to add 11 to both sides. So I've got 2x take 11 is 3. I need to add 11 to both sides. If I add 11 to this side, I'm going to write plus 11 here. And I'm going to add 11 to the other side. Whatever I do to one side, I do to the other side. All right, and what does 2x take 11 plus 11 become? 2x. And what's 3 plus 11? 14. I know some kids tell me, couldn't you do that in one shot? Couldn't you just bring the -11 to the other side and write plus 11? Yeah, you can. Yeah, when you bring a -11 to the other side, it becomes a plus 11. When you bring a -6 to the other side, it becomes a plus 6. But what you're actually doing is you're adding 6 to both sides. You're not bringing stuff to the other side. All right, question 2a. What equation happens if you subtract 2 from both sides? What happens, guys, if I do subtract 2 here and subtract 2 there? What happens? What does this become if I subtract 2? X. Alrighty, so x, and when I subtract 2, it becomes 3 take 2. And they don't even want the answer. They just want to know what equation you get. That's actually the answer. They don't want to know what x is yet. They just want to know what happens if you subtract 2 from both sides. What happens if you subtract 5 from both sides, here and here? What happens if you subtract 5 from here? What does that become? You get 2x. And if you subtract 5 from the other side, you get 0 take 5. And I'm sure a lot of kids have told me, oh yeah, I just bring the plus 5 to the other side anyway, and I write minus 5. So that's another way to think of it. Alrighty, cool. All right, question 3. What equation results from multiplying both sides by 3? What happens if I multiply both sides of this equation by 3? What do I get? 3x equals -9 is correct. If you multiply this side by 3, then you're going to multiply that side by 3. So then 3x equals -9. What about this one, guys? What happens if I multiply both sides by 4? What happens if you do this side times 4? I'm sure everyone agrees that the 4 and the 4 just cross out if I times by 4. So what does this just become? X equals? -4, because I have to times both sides by 4. Alrighty. What equation results from dividing both sides by 3? If you divide this side by 3, what does it become? X. Yes, some people said 1x. That's also correct. And if you divide the other side by 3, what does it become? 4. And there's your answer. All right. What happens if I divide this side by 2? X. What else? You have to also divide this. If you have to divide everything by 2, not just one thing by 2. So what you're doing is 2x plus 8, and the entire thing is being divided by 2, and 0 is being divided by 2. So 2x plus 8 divided by 2 is how much? X plus 4, and then what's 0 divide anything? 0. All right, 0 divided by anything is 0. And lucky last, guys, what if I divide both sides by 4? So what I'm going to write down is I'm going to write divide 4 over here, and I'm going to write divide 4 over there. When I write divide 4, does this 4 and 4 cross out? All right, making sure we're writing all of this down. So what does the answer really become? X plus 2 is -3. You should know your negative numbers by now. You should know that -12 divided by 4 is -3. Are we all happy with that? All right. Cool. Now time to actually solve the equations. All righty. Now, guys, I'm passing the roll around. Some of your names are already on the roll. If your name's already on the roll, just tick your name, okay, on the math one. If your name's not on the roll, just write everything on that second page, okay? Some of your names are on the roll, some of you are not. If your name's not on the roll, you just need to add it on that blank page at the back, okay? All right. So I'm not I'm just trying to think, do I even do this or not with you? Yeah, you're not, I won't do question 1. I'll do question 2 with you. All right. So don't worry, 1's not even homework. I'm not too bothered about doing it. All righty. Explain how to isolate X. How to isolate X. How do I get the X by itself? So guys, it's very easy, and always even columns are homework. How do I isolate X? So guys, how do you get rid of a +5? -5, and there's your answer. Just write down -5. That's how you isolate the X, you -5. These are skills that are going to help us build, that is going to help us solve equations. What about here, guys? There's 3x. How do I get the X by itself? Because it says 3x. Divide 3. That's your answer. All right. Always even columns are homework. Question number 1, I just completely canceled out. It's not even homework. I'm not interested. All right. How do I isolate the X? And I hope you guys say it in the correct order. How do you isolate the X? Do you get rid of the 2 first or get rid of the 1 first? What do you have to get rid of first? The 1. You got to get, no, that's, the 2 is very close to X. All right. The 2 is, I'll give you an analogy. If you want to get to somebody, if you want to get someone, you got to remove the external coating first, right? If you want to do surgery on someone, you first got to take off their t-shirt before you start cutting them up. Yeah, you can't, if you're going to do chest surgery on someone, you don't just cut their t-shirt like for your surgery. You first take the shirt off, then you get to the chest, and then you cut it and get to your heart or whatever it is, okay? In the same way here, to get to the X, don't jump to the 2. That's a bit like someone coming in for surgery and you just like trying to rip their, like just putting your scalpel through their t-shirt. We don't do that. We first get the t-shirt out first. So in here, what's the outermost thing you need to get rid of first? 1. Actually, I got a much better analogy. When you go home and you go for a shower, you don't take off your undies first and then your shorts. Yes, what do? You first take your shorts off, then your undies if you're wearing some. All right, so yeah, otherwise that's weird if you take off your undies before your shorts before you go shower, unless you're Superman. All right, and then you wear your undies on top of your shorts. Then you take off your undies first. All right, but unless you're Superman, you take off your shorts first, then the undies. All right, in the exact same way. I don't want anyone telling me we get rid of the 2 first. What do we get rid of first? What's the outside part? The +1. And how do you get rid of a +1? -1. And then how do I get rid of the 2x? Divide. That's correct. Cool. Anyone that said 2 first, I'm imagining you taking off your undies before you take off your shorts. And I think it is possible. I've seen it on Mr. Bean. I think it is possible, but it's just possible. It sounds weird. All righty. 2. Take 4x. All right. What do you get rid of first, guys? 2. How do you get rid of the 2? And there's an invisible plus in front of there. So first you do the -2. All right. And then how do you get rid of the -4? You divide by -4. That is correct. You divide by -4. You don't divide by +4. You divide by -4 because there's a -4 in front of the x. All right. This is easy, guys. What's the outermost layer here? The 2. So how do you get rid of the divide 2? Times 2. Cool. How do we get rid of the, what's the next outermost layer? The 2 is taken care of. So I'll do it in like different colors. So I got rid of the divide by 2 by doing times by 2. Then I got to get rid of the take 1. How do I get rid of the take 1? +1. And then I had to get rid of the 3x. How do I get rid of that 3? Divide 3. And that is correct. Well done. That is completely correct. All right, what about the next one, guys? What's the outermost layer? The 1. How do I get rid of a +1? -1 is correct. How do I get rid of the 2/3? Divide by 2/3. There is an equivalent answer. Can anyone tell me another way of saying divide by 2/3? I'll accept it.
Times 3/2.
Well done. Times 3/2. Another way of saying divide by 2/3 is times by 3/2. So that's also an acceptable answer. Got it? Alrighty. So obviously the second and fourth columns are your homework. I'm giving you guys 2 minutes to isolate the x and doing the third column by yourself right now. Go, try. Isolate the x in the third column now. Isolate the x. Do it in the correct order. Take off your shorts before you take off the undies. right, let's see how you went. All right, shouldn't have taken too long. All right, so guys, the first one says 2x. I hope everyone just wrote divide 2. Next one says x take 6. To get rid of the take 6, I hope everyone just wrote we're going to plus 6. The next one says plus 7. So how do you get rid of the plus 7? Minus 7 is correct. We do the minus 7, and then it says 5x. So what do we do straight after that? Divide by 5. Good work. All right, what about the next one? Get rid of the plus 2 first. How do you get rid of the plus 2? Minus 2. How do I get rid of the divide by 3? Times 3. All right, easy. All right. All right, I'll do the next one slowly in different colors. What's the outermost layer? The minus 2, you're right, is the outermost layer. So to get rid of the minus 2, we do plus 2. You're right. What's the next outermost layer? The divide by 3. So how do we get rid of a divide by 3? Times 3. What's the next layer? Well, so plus 1. To get rid of the plus 1, we do minus 1. You are correct. Well done. If you guys get that, that's so good. That's year 8 math. All righty. If you don't get that, we've got to get a little bit better over time, okay? But this is what we do in year 8 math. All right. Next one. What's the outermost layer? Half. Good. I hope everyone realizes it's not the take 5, because the take 5 is in the bracket with the x. So the outermost layer is the half. How do you get rid of the half?
Times 2.
Yeah. Some people will say divide half. Some people will say times 2. I don't mind what you write. To get rid of the half, you either write divide half, I'm sure everyone agrees, or you can just write times 2, because to get rid of a half, you just times it by 2. But if anyone wrote divide by half instead, I'm okay with it. All right, what's the outermost layer next? Minus 5. How do we get rid of that? Plus 5. How do we get rid of the 6x? Divide by 6. There you go. Divide by positive 6 to get rid of the 6x. Well done. Now you guys know how to undo equations. All right, now we know how to undress x. All righty, so that's what we're doing. We're literally just undressing x. All right, leaving it naked. That's what the question says. How do you isolate x? All righty, cool. So now we're somehow almost onto the last. No, we're not somehow. We are actually onto the, wow. All right, we're on the last page. All righty. And today we're going to do it the boring way. Today is going to be done the boring way, the long way. And then when we get better, you can. So today, I don't want anyone just like, I'm missing one page. Where is it gone? Do you guys have one page extra?
No.
All right. You see how it just jumps to question number 2? Yeah, that shouldn't be the case. So I'm going to just find where that is. You guys don't have it. So I've just not included it somehow. I'll get it. Hold on. Solving equations. Hold on. All right, I just want to do that first one. I don't know why it's not there, so I'll find it. It might be in the, I think I know where to find it. Hold on one second. Solving equations. There you go. I think I found it. So guys, find some space. Do you have a blank space, or is your booklet completely full? Find some space somewhere. I'm sure you'll have some space somewhere. All right, I've just, for whatever reason, question number 1's missing. Alrighty. So here's question number 1 right here. Yeah, 6D. Yeah, that's the bit I've just somehow missed it. Okay. So solve for x. We're gonna do it, unfortunately, the boring way. All right, boring way, long way, but the correct actual way of doing it. So they're asking us to solve x plus 3 is 0. I'm solving x plus 3 is 0. So here's the thing. What do you have to do? You have to isolate the x. How do you isolate the x? You got to get rid of a plus 3. So you got rid of 3 from both sides. So you're going to write x plus 3 and then going to write take 3 here. And then you're going to write take 3 there. So then what does that become? Good. X equals minus 3. I hope everyone agrees that's your answer. I know some kids would have said, Kunj, can't I just bring the plus 3 to the other side straight away? Yeah, you can. But just for today, I want us to do it the proper way. But I'm sure a lot of kids will just say that, Kunj, just bring plus 3 to the other side, and then it becomes minus 3. All right, but I'm just doing it the long way. All righty. So whatever you do to one side of the equation, you have to do the same thing to the other in order to maintain the balance. All right, D, 3x take 4 equals negative 6. All right, guys, what do you have to do to isolate the x? What's the furthest most away? And this doesn't count. That's on the other side of the equation. So what do you have to get rid of here first? The negative 4. Everyone agreed you got to get rid of the negative 4? And how did you tell me earlier you're going to get rid of a negative 4? Plus 4. So what you do is you do plus 4 on the left and you do plus 4 on the right. Whatever you do to the left side of the equation, you do the same thing to the right side of the equation. So then what does that actually mean 3x equals? Negative 2. Negative 6 plus 4 is negative 2. That is correct. With whatever you do to one side of the equation, you have to do the same thing to the other side of the equation. So then I added 4 to both sides. All right, and how do I get rid of this 3? How do I get rid of this 3? Divide by 3. So x equals minus 2 divide 3. And in high school, you leave your fractions as improper fractions. So that's your final answer. That is actually your final answer. X is negative 2 over 3. I don't want anyone writing negative 0.6666 or negative 0.6 recurring or whatnot in high school. We prefer everything to be improper fractions. All right. Now, 8x take 7 is 9. Help me out, guys. 8x take 7 is 9. What do you have to undo first? The take 7. How do you undo a take 7? Plus 7. All righty. And I know some kids will tell me, Kunj, we just brings take 7 to the other side and you write plus 7. You are correct. You technically just write plus 7 on the other side. So some kids are good enough to just straight away tell me 8x is 16 because they'll bring the minus 7 to the other side and 7 plus 9 is 16. But I want us to learn the actual correct way. All right, and how do I get rid of that 8 now, guys? Divide by 8. I know some kids will just tell me, Kunj, the answer is 2, but I want us to do it slowly. So to do it slowly, what I want you to actually do, write down, which I know seems a bit of a trek, you write this, on this side, you write divide by 8. And on the other side, I write divide by 8. I hope the entire class knows this fraction sign means divide. All right, that fraction sign does mean divide. And obviously, guys, what is 8x divided by 8? 8x, yes. And what's 16 divided by 8? 2. And I'm sure some kids tell me in high school, after year 7, in year 8, there'll be 1 mark for writing this, 1 mark for writing that in year 8. In year 8, there will be no marks for writing plus 7 on both sides. In year 8, there'll be no marks for writing divide by 8 on both sides. There will not be a mark for that. So you don't have to write it in year 8. But in year 7, we just have to get in the habit of writing it. All right. Next one. 9 is 3x plus 7. They put the x on the other side. Big deal. Big deal. Well, you know what the first thing I want to do just to make my life easy? I'm going to write 3x plus 7 is 9. I'm sure if everyone says 9 is 3x plus 7, it means 3x plus 7 is 9. It's just a bit easier when the x is on the left. Just looks a little bit nicer. All right, how do you undo a plus 7? We undo a plus 7 by doing minus 7. So then I'm going to do minus 7 to both sides. So there's already a plus 7 there. I'm going to do minus 7 over here. And I'm going to write minus 7 over here. So then what I really have is, what's plus 7 take 7 become? 0. So you're just left with a 3x. And what does 9x take 9 take 7 become? 2. And now what do you have to undo next? Divide both sides by 3. So 3x divide by 3 equals 2 divide 3. Alrighty. Whatever you do to one side, you do to the other side. And then what is 3x divided by 3 really? X. And then 2 divided by 3 is 2/3. That's it. There's your answer. X is 2/3. While you're in year 7, you're going to have to do it the long way with me, okay? When you become a year 8, you can do it your way.
Do the other column as well.
All right, yes. So guys, you're going to write this out for your homework. That's your homework. And you don't have it, so write that down somewhere. And then right now, we're going to do these questions together. All right, right now, we're going to do these questions together. All right, the middle column, which you don't have because I forgot to print that page, I don't know where it went, is homework. And that last column you're going to do right now with me, and you're going to do it like the proper way with all the steps and everything. All right, I'm giving you some time. Come on, have a shot. All righty, so let's see how we went. 3x plus 6 is 0. All right, we got to get rid of the plus 6. How do we get rid of the plus 6? Minus 6. I'm going to write 3x plus 6. I'm going to write minus 6. I know it seems like such a big trek to write all this, but we have to because we're only year 7 still. All righty, and then what that gives us is 3x equals, and what 0 takes 6? Negative 6. Then how did everyone get rid of the 3? Divide by 3. Divide this side by 3. Divide that side by 3. So hopefully everyone got a final answer is x is negative 2. All right. F. 4x take 9 is 1. What did everyone undo first? The minus 9. And how did you undo a minus 9? Plus 9. We undo the minus 9 by writing plus 9. And whatever you do to the left, you do the same thing to the right. So I've done plus 9 plus 9. So then I've got 4x equals, what's 1 plus 9? 10. And then we divide both sides by 4. You're completely correct. We divide both sides by 4. All right. And you need to write the simplified version of 10 over 4. What's the simplified version of 10 over 4? 5 over 2. And I know some of you will write 2.5, which is not wrong, but in high school, they really do prefer improper fractions. So 5 over 2 is the best answer you can give. If you wrote 2.5, yeah, fine. That's a, look, it's allowed. It's not wrong. It is allowed. All right, it is allowed. Just get to that. All right. I. 6 plus 7x is negative 1. I got to get, what's the invisible thing in front of the 6? There is a plus in front of that 6. All right. Everyone knows there's an invisible plus in front of there. Anyone wondering that? If I ask you how old you are and you say 12, you don't need to say plus 12. There's an invisible plus in front of that 12 when you tell me how old you are. Yeah, it's not like a negative 12. All right. So how do we get rid of that plus 6? Minus 6. So I've got a plus 6 plus 7x, and I'm going to write minus 6. And since I did that on the left, I do the same thing on the right. So negative 1, negative 6. All righty. So then what does that really leave us with? 7x equals -7. You need to know your negative numbers. It's so funny. When I teach my students, a lot of them are not good at negative numbers. When I ask them -1, take 6, some of them don't know what to write. And then I reword the question and then all of a sudden they know what to write. I tell them, what's -$1 minus another $6? Then everyone tells me, oh yeah, that's -$7. As soon as I write dollars, everybody seems to get it. All right. But then when I do -1 take 6, some people will be like, 5. No. All right. But then when I use the word dollars, I go -$1 minus another $6. Then everyone goes, oh yeah, that's -$7. Okay. So if you're not good at negative numbers, put a dollar in front of the number and see if that makes it easier for you. Because you're all greedy and just into money, and that's why you understand it. All right. Cool. So 7x is -7. And then we're going to divide both sides by 7. I'll divide the left side by 7 and we'll divide the right side by 7. All right. So then x equals -1. -7 divided by 7 is -1. You need to practice your negative numbers if you're not good at them. All right. On the Google Drive, there'll be a chapter on negative numbers if you're not good at it. All righty. There are things that I don't teach in my year 7 class, which includes negative numbers, addition, subtraction, division, multiplication. That is assumed knowledge. All right. I teach assuming you know how to add, subtract, divide, multiply, including negative numbers. All right. Lucky last. -1 is 2x plus 6, but I'll write 2x plus 6 first. So 2x plus 6 equals -1. 2x plus 6 is -1. I got to get rid of plus 6 on both sides. So plus 6 minus 6. And on the other side, I write -1 minus 6. Alrighty. And 2x plus 6 takes 6 is 2x. And -$1 minus another $6 is -$7. All right. Good work. Then we divide both sides by 2. Divide this side by 2. And then we divide that side by 2. So then I have x equals -7 over 2. Yes, you can write -3.5. That's a little bit ugly way of writing it. But hey, some people are ugly. So that's okay. Alrighty. Cool. All right. So we are up to question number 2, which is on your sheet now. All right. Now this is on your sheet. All right. That's the last page. All right. And next week, we're, by the way, continuing on with solving equations, but we're doing harder stuff. So we're doing like fractional equations and unknowns on both sides and whatnot. All righty. So as usual, middle column homework. Now, there's an invisible plus in front of the 6. Just remember that. There's a plus there, there's a plus there, there's a plus there, there's a, yeah, just that. Remember that. All righty. So for A, we have a plus 6, take x is 5. We got to get rid of a plus 6. How do you get rid of a plus 6? -6. So I'm going to write down, so we have a plus 6, take x, and everyone's telling me that we -6 away from that. If you -6 from the left, you have to -6 from the right. All righty. What does the plus 6 and the -6 here do? Cancels out, so what do we really just left there? -x. And what about the other side? What's -$5 minus $6? -$11. And if -x is -11, what's positive x? Positive 11, because you just get rid of the negative on both sides. If both sides are negative, you can cross them out, basically. D. Plus 5, take 4x, is -7. How do I get rid of this plus 5? Because remember, I'm trying to isolate the x. We're undressing the x, so we need to get the x by itself. How do I get rid of that plus 5? -5. And since I did -5 to that side, I have to do -5 to the other side. What's plus 5 take 5? 0. So then we're just left with a -4x. And what's -7 minus 5? -12. And then we divide this side by -4 to isolate the x. And we divide that side by -4. So what is -4x divided by 4? What's -4x divided -4? Divide. Oh, you're doing the other side. I'm doing this. You're right. X equals Minus 4x divided by minus 4 is x, and minus 12 divided by minus 4 is 3. Do you guys all know that? That when you divide two negative numbers, it's positive? When you multiply two negative numbers, it's positive, and when you divide two negative numbers, it's positive. We should know those rules. All right. If not, you need to practice your negative numbers. All righty. G. Let's go. We're up to G. All right. There's a, okay, I'm just gonna rewrite it and write minus 1, sorry, G first. I'm gonna rewrite and write 3, take 2x first. I'm gonna write 3, take 2x first. So I'm gonna write down 3, take 2x equals 11. There is an invisible plus in front of the 3. There is an invisible plus in front of 3. How do we get rid of that plus 3? Because we're trying to undress the x. Minus 3. And then if I minus 3 there, I minus 3 here. And I'm sure everyone agrees plus 3 minus 3 just disappears. So then you're just left with minus 2x is 8. And how do I get rid of the minus 2? Divide both sides by minus 2. And class, what's minus 2x divide minus 2? X. And what's 8 divide minus 2? Minus 4 is correct. Well done. Remember, we're just using our skills from earlier today where we were isolating the x. But now we're just doing it to both sides of the equation. All right, J. Who can tell me what I'm going to write down in J just to make this look a little bit prettier? What am I going to write down in J just to make it look a bit prettier? Minus 1 minus 7x equals 6. All righty. And then how do I get rid of the minus 1? What do I have to do to both sides to get rid of the minus 1? Plus 1. So the minus 1 and the plus 1 just cancels out. So then you're left with a minus 7x equals 7. And how do I get rid of that minus 7x? No, that divide. I know someone said plus, but this is connected by a multiply. It's minus 7 times x. To get rid of that times x, you have to divide by minus 7. And then if I divide this side by minus 7, I divide that side by minus 7. So what's x equal to? Negative 1 is correct. Now, guys, do you know what some of the smarter kids would have done, which is still correct? I know it's not what I told you to do, but it's still correct. Some of the smarter kids would have actually done this because that's how they were taught to do it at school. Some of the smarter kids would have brought this minus 7x to the other side. They would have brought the minus 7x to this side. What happens when you bring a minus 7x to that other side? What does it become? Plus 7x. And then there's a plus in front of this 6. They would have brought that plus 6 to the other side. And what happens when you bring a plus 6 to the other side? Negative 6. So then equals minus 1. And then they would have written negative 6. That makes sense? That's what some kids would have done. And that's like a little bit easier or quicker. Alrighty, I know it's not what I told you to do, but it's what they would have done. So then that literally means 7x is negative 7. And if 7x is negative 7, then x is obviously negative 1. So that is technically another way of doing it. Alrighty, cool. Because my time is limited, that's being added to the homework. Alright, that is being added to the homework. Alrighty. So let's do question 3. You can't get 3a wrong. Even the dumbest kid should get it right. All right. X divide 2 is 5. I know you just want to write x is 10, but can we write some working out? Write some working out. I know you just want to write x equals 10. So how do you get rid of a divide by 2? Times by 2. And then if I do times 2 there, I have to write times 2 on the other side. All right. And that gives us x is how much? 10. Cool. D. All right, undress the x. What's the first thing you have to do?
Plus 2.
Good. Get rid of the minus 2. So how do you get rid of the minus 2? You either bring it to the other side, or what technically are you doing? You're not actually bringing it to the other side. What are you doing? You're adding 2 to both sides. I know some people think they're bringing it to the other side. Yeah, you kind of are, but what you're actually doing is adding 2 to both sides. So then x divided by 3 is 3. And now how do I get rid of this divide by 3? Yeah, I know some people say that bring the divide 3 to the other side and write times 3. But what you're actually doing is you're timesing both sides by 3. So then what does that give you? X is 9. Good. Makes sense to everyone? I know some people might find that middle step even more confusing. Some people might just find it easier to bring a divide by 3 and write times 3 straight away. Got it? All right. Can you try C and F right now by yourself? Try C and F by yourself. Bless you. All right. How did everyone approach C? How do you get rid of the +1? -1. Yes, to get rid of +1, you do -1. All right. So then you -1 from both sides. Oh, I know what some people did. They just took it to the other side, which is kind of correct. All righty. So that becomes X on 4. And yes, what's -$3 minus $1? -$4. Yes. And then how do you get rid of that divide by 4? Times 4. We do times by 4 to both sides. Times by 4 here and times by 4 here. All right. So then that becomes X equals -16. All right. If you're finding this easy, that's really good because it's year 8 math. If you're finding it hard, we'll try again later. All right. We'll get better hopefully over time. All righty. F. Can you guys tell me what's the furthest most thing away from that X? How do I undress the X? What do I have to get rid of? The 3. Good. I'm glad everyone said the 3. So how do you get rid of a 3? See, in the other one, we got rid of the +1 first because it was the furthest most away thing. But in this case, the furthest most away thing is 3. And you know what? In earlier years, I've asked kids, what's the furthest thing away from the X? And I'm hoping they were telling me 3. But some kids tell me the furthest thing away from the X is the -1. And then I go, no, not that far away. On the side where the equals 2 is. Okay, so on that side. All right, we're just, when I say furthest away thing, I mean on the side where the equals is. All right, and then guys, we're just gonna, how do we get rid of that divide by 3? Times 3. And if we times that side by 3, we have to times the other side by 3. So then this just becomes X plus 5, and this becomes -3. And how do you get rid of +5? -5 from both sides, or just bring -5 to bring it to the other side, whatever you'd rather think of it. And what's -3 minus 5? -8. So you are right. The answer is X is -8. Well done. Alrighty, last questions. All right. Oh, this is so easy. This one's so easy. How do you get rid of a divide by 5? Times 5. I'm going to do it the quick way. Let's try the quick way. So, do I just write 0 times 5 effectively? Technically, you're timesing both sides by 5, but what's 0 times 5 anyway? 0. So, if 2x plus 7 is 0, what do you do next? You bring the +7 to the other side. -7. Do you guys see how I'm doing it the quick year 8 way? Where I'm not actually writing -7 on both sides? It's acceptable, I guess. Alrighty, so then what we're doing is we're bringing the +7 across and writing -7. So 2x equals -7, and then x equals -7 over 2. You can write -3.5, but I'd rather you leave it like that. D. All right, how do you get rid of a divide by 2? Because that's the outermost thing. Times by 2. So I'm just going to write times 2. It's too much effort to write times 2 on both sides. That means 3x take 1 is 8. How do you get rid of a take 1? +1 is correct. So 3x is 9. How do you get rid of a divide times by 3? Because that's what's next to the x. Divide by 3. So we write 9 divide by 3. And what is 9 divided by 3? 3. If you don't know that, you're in the wrong year. You should know that by now. All right. Here. How do we get rid of a divide by 7? Times by 7. So I'm going to write 1 plus 4x is 3 times 7. So 1 plus 4x is 21. How do we get rid of this plus 1? There is an invisible in front of that 1. So how do we get rid of that plus 1? Minus 1. You're right. So then I write 21, take 1. So 4x is 20. And then we divide by 4. And what's 20 divided by 4? 5. Cool. Are we happy with that? All righty. So that's your answer. And the last one. How do we get rid of this quarter? Times both sides by 4. So then if I times this side by 4, the quarter disappears. And if I times this side by 4, I'll write it down. Negative 2 times 4 is negative 8. How do I get rid of this plus 1? Minus 1. So 2x is minus 8 minus 1. So 2x is actually minus 9. Dollars. All right. And what's x? Then minus 9 divided by 2. You can write minus 4.5, but I'd rather you not. All righty. I'd rather you not. So the answer to F is that. Everyone knows their homework. Yes, I'll be sharing the Google Drives with you. So anyone that's on Zoom, I'll be sharing the booklets with you. So you guys will be able to view a copy of the homework there. You get a little breather. All right, I've got a couple of rules. You may eat fruit. You may eat crisp or sandwich or whatever. You may not eat smelly food. All right, because that distracts others. You may not eat any nuts. You may not eat nuts because there's some people here with nut allergies. If you eat